Hi guys, thanks for hopping on tonight. I know where we're at, the weather's like really pretty and it kind of sucks to come inside for an hour, but I appreciate you being here to help your business and stuff. This call is really one of my favorite kind of calls to do because I make him talk. And we've got a guest speaker on here. Sarah and Nate are going to talk with us, and Daryl's going to talk, and Scott's going to talk. And if anyone else has anything they want to contribute, I would love to hear from you, as well as everybody else, I'm sure. So I'm going to mute myself, and Sarah and Nate, if you could just kind of tell us where you're from, who you are, a little bit about yourself, and then I want to hear all about how supportive of Scentsy he is.
So Sarah and Nate Myers, we are originally from Ohio. So we are from Dayton, but we moved here to Florida in 2013. My Scentsy journey started in 2015. We were a huge, well, we still are, kind of craft beer community. And I kind of wanted to, he was making tons of friends. And I was like, well, I kind of needed something for myself. And I decorate it to the gills for every single holiday. So if it's spring, summer, 4th of July, it doesn't matter. I figure it out. And Chelsea was my sponsor, or is my sponsor, I guess I should say. And every single warmer of the month, it was, I had to have it. So at one point, she was kind of just like, when are you going to join? And so 2015, I decided to join. So I actually joined on this one's birthday. I said, last chance. This is a $49 kit. Are we going to go for it? And we did.
Happy birthday to me.
And I haven't slowed down ever since. We've had, you have the roller coaster, you have the waves, you have the where you don't think you're going to do it, you want to quit and just be done. That definitely comes. But it's just a whirlwind. And I would definitely say, like, for us, it's more of making sure he knows what, like, my goals are, not keeping things from him, giving him, if he wants to go live, don't be afraid to let your spouse go live and support you. Sniff sessions were huge. Everybody loves sniff sessions with him because he cracks jokes and I try and be like,
cuss. It's because I cuss. That's why. I won't do it on here unless you want me to, but
like I try and be like, oh, this is okay. And he'd be like, no, this shit stinks. Like, don't, no. Like,
I wouldn't be that rude. Come on. I think I did once and you're like, hey, let's tone it back a little.
But from the very start, he has been super, super supportive. Again,
I don't think it was always that easy though.
Not.
Like at first it was like she just assumed I was going to help. And so that's like the hard part that a lot of people don't get over is like, there's still, even though maybe your significant other, your mother, whoever it is, spouse, there still has to be that moment where you ask, right? Because the answer can never be yes unless you ask. I always like to say it that way because you hear it the other way all around all the time. It's always no if you don't ask. I always like to put it in the affirmative because you want a yes. So that's the way I say it. Anyway, sorry, I'll get off that little nerd soapbox. But essentially, like, so that was like the first thing. Like there was always kind of like she just assumed, well, you're going to help and whatever. So once we kind of got past that, I was like, well, yeah, I'd love to help. I just don't know how. Like the crazy part about it was like, that's the second mountain that you get over is once you kind of get past the initial conversation is, what is your agreement? Kind of like almost saying I do if you're married again. Like, I do want to help you set up for that festival, or I do want to go live with you. And knowing it's okay to like say I don't, So that's kind of the crazy part about it. Like, I think we've been through plenty of those. Like times where she's like, you're gonna help me set up at that festival, right? And I'm like,
That happened like 2 weeks ago.
And so it's not all like, because I know it's tough. We've talked to plenty of couples at SFRs and things like, not couples, I guess usually it's just the consultant there. And they're usually like, my spouse won't even look at it or whatever. And everyone's situation is different in life. So anything I say here, obviously your real reality may not be what ours is, but I guarantee you there's at least something, especially with like kids around, because you can't always break away. Somebody's watching the child. Well, they are helping your business in that way. So The last thing I would say is like she always never treats me any different than anyone else helps her. She always says she appreciates me when I help and things like that. And believe it or not, at the end of the day, we've been married 18 years, and that's still important because Scentsy is a part of us, but we're going to be regardless of whether Scentsy is around or not. Not that I hope it's not, but and so when I look at it from that perspective, I think that's the thing is like I wrote quick notes because I'm kind of there like that. I said ask, agreement, and appreciation. So if those three things you're going to take from what I have is those are three of the most important things. Don't forget to ask. Don't forget to have that agreement on how the person's going to help, and then always show your appreciation.
Does anyone have any questions or how we do things or?
She tells me when to be and where to be to do shit. No, she doesn't do that.
Was he always super supportive from like the beginning of you starting, or did it take him a couple of months or years to like be like, oh, okay?
He pretty much has been supportive since day one. Not to be fully honest, there were times where he would look at me and be like, okay, are you going to make this a hobby or are you going to make this a business? So he's always my level head. Like, he'll look at me and tell me like, okay, there's a difference. Are you just going to spend your own money on it, or are you going to make money? Like, and that's where it was. And then we decided to, I dropped in 9-to-5 dropout as of September of last year. So this is my full-time gig. It had to be a whole mutual thing. I can't not tell him what my money income is and things like that. So you have to be 100% honest with your significant other with everything from finance to expenses to your goals to, what's your team doing. They need to know so they can kind of lead you and guide you and help you along the way. And when you have those down moments, that they are there to kind of bump you back up. So.
How do you find the balance in your relationship to your business? Do you find it that you struggle at times when you spend more time with your business versus on your relationship? Like, how do you balance that?
So we probably have a little different situation than a lot of people. We do not have, maybe not, but we do not have children. So it was a little at first. So the first few years for us, or for me, I guess I should say, was I was spending a lot of time Scentsy. It was Scentsy. I was putting Scentsy into my life and not my, you know what I mean? Like, I was making sure that everything, I was on my phone constantly, checking messages immediately, doing those messages at 12, 2 in the morning, doing all of that, not sleeping. And he was just like, hey, when's our time? So, and it was like deciding to go do this full time, we led up to it. So like, we wanted to make sure he would have me write down like, okay, what are you going to do on Monday? What are you going to do on Tuesday? And now we kind of have a schedule, and he knows I pretty much don't come into the office until 10 o'clock. And then if there's days where I know I prefer to work in the evenings, we just kind of shift our schedule. So we just kind of work around it. Good thing is he works from home as well. So we kind of do have that luxury again. So ours is a little different. But when I was working, I would make sure that like we would do dinner and everything like that. And then we would spend 2 to 3 hours when I would come home from work in the evenings. And then like 10 to 12, because I'm a night owl. I do my best. I do everything best in the evenings. From like 10 to 12 before I would go to bed, that's where I would like designate my Scentsy time. So we kind of just knew that's how it was going to work for us.
That was perfect.
I was just gonna say, thank you. That was great. We all are definitely taking some notes.
Yes. And if you're able to, whenever there is an event, like he's always said World Tour is mine. Like anytime like it's World Tour, he knows that is like my girl time. It's always been World Tour is just me and my girls. But family reunion, this is the first year that he's not going, and it's actually kind of like, I got choked up last week when we were talking about it. I was like, oh my gosh, I leave in like, because I'm leaving out a lot earlier than most people. I'm leaving the Friday before, like the 17th. So I'm going out on the 17th. And typically, because when we go, we make it our family vacation. So it's our vacation for each other. So we'll go out a couple days early. We'll sightsee around the city because they're usually cities that we haven't been. So that's like our vacation for us. But our pup, we have an elderly pup and we can't leave her home by herself. So
If there's a hurricane, I mean, I don't leave. So
so he's not able to go this year, and it's the first time. So if you can go, please, I totally 100,010% recommend that you go to reunion with your significant other. It is business changing, life changing. Like, people will tell you when we first went, I think it was actually the first year I met Brooke when we were in Nashville. The first thing that Corey and Chelsea told us was that he told Corey, I think he said, Nate, you're joining a cult. And Nate was like, what in the world? And it was like the very first thing, you're coming down this escalator and people are screaming Scentsy Spirit. Like, it is, like, it gives you chills. It is. But from that moment, when you hear, I'm so bummed that they're not going to be here, but when you hear Heidi and Orville speak, it is. And
just the mad rush from the open general session, like everyone's mad rushes in and there's just energy. But what you pick up on is like really the soul of it. So after you get the person that you want to get more interested, or if the person's semi-interested in helping you already, yes, if you have the means, the capability, bring them to SFR with you. I 100% endorse that. You know,
so I'm bummed that registration is closed because I'm harping on it, or praising it right now. But if you were able to get them to go next year, definitely do it. So
I completely agree with that. I think events change a lot of their perspectives on what Scentsy is and what we're doing.
And you can enter those events with the level mind of it's not business, it's life. Keynotes are life. I mean, I like that events are all ranks of people. It's not all the top
Right.
dogs. It is
And
the people that feel like they're the bottom feeders that have opened their eyes in life rather than business. The business comes easy if everything else wraps around it. So,
and I like that they don't always have Scentsy employees. It's just people that are business people. Yeah, that was perfect.
So hopefully I will see some of you guys next month.
Me, not you,
not me.
kids.
Yep.
Not me
Right?
either.
No,
What's
not
this
Nate
one
this year.
laughing at? Tracy, what are you laughing at?
I mean, how she just threw you under the bus.
Well, someone's gotta watch them.
Maybe
Yeah.
next year we'll all.
We've got a pretty busy summer, so I have to work some
And the farm.
and the farm
And the kids.
and the kids. Actually, she's shipping all the kids out.
You're not watching our kids. Somebody else is.
They're gonna have the kids some of
Nice.
the night, so it's like it's a work vacation for me.
It's easy
Stay
days.
home,
for
work
you.
vacation.
There's that couple work at its best, right? She sets you up for success. You can't fail.
Yep.
Go, Brooke.
Take care of it all.
She has
Well,
an
thank
agreement
you.
with him, see?
Anybody else have questions?
Thank
All
you.
right, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you guys.
You too.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, Daryl, do you want to talk next?
Sure. So, hi, everybody. I'm Daryl Trombley. I'm Tracy's husband. We've been married for almost 30 years. She's been involved in Scentsy. Actually, we've been involved in Scentsy for about 2.5.
It'll be 3 years in October.
Okay. And it was kind of a challenge when Tracy got into Scentsy because she was all about the product, the person she was buying stuff from. She was going out of her way to drum up business to help this friend of hers because that's just the person Tracy is. she'll walk through fire to help somebody. And I've seen her do this with about 1 million different products that she's just 110% invested in, doing all of the work to try and promote and help and get people excited about it to help somebody else enhance their business, and not doing anything to allow herself to benefit from the business. So we were literally driving home from where we came back from-
Ohio.
yeah, we were driving through Columbus, Ohio.
It's Ohio every time.
She was watching the consultant that she was purchasing stuff from at the time do a live. And I'm driving and listening to what they're doing. And Tracy said, you know, I think I could do this. So I reached in my pocket at 70 miles an hour going down I-70 and threw her my wallet and said, pull out the credit card. Do it. What's it cost? No, we don't have the money for that. And, you know, we were on a shoestring with the trip that we were on. I said, well, what's it cost? Is it $1,000 or something? She goes, well, it's $100 to get into
99.
it. 99.
Come on, get the facts.
I was driving. We made it home. So it's do it. It's worth it to me to have you spend that money on yourself, because I would be just as happy going out and spending $100 on flowers for you, or taking you out for dinner, or do something else. Do it. The absolute worst case scenario is we lose $100 because it doesn't work out. I've done that in an evening, playing a gig at a bar where I had a bar tab bigger than what I made for the night with my band. It's fluid, it's money, it's like Doritos, we'll make more. It's not that much to invest in yourself to get it going. So she went through the hoops and all of the frustrations that it's funny, because I remember that day in the car from Columbus to Toledo. It was, now it's doing this. What do I do with that? Now it's doing this. I got to figure out how to do this. Be quiet. I have to watch this training video so I know how to do this.
Don't talk to me.
It's like, okay. So since then, she signed up several different people, and just about every time somebody joins her team, I'm sitting back hearing the conversation she's having with the new consultant. And I can remember vividly driving down the freeway, and I can picture what that other person is saying to her of, where do I find this? How do I set up my first party? How do I do this? How do I do that? That whole entry into Scentsy life with Tracy is really kind of burned into my brain. I mean, the entire event, it was literally us just kind of on a fluke, and we'll do it. Let's see what happens. Now, since then, you had mentioned, a few of you mentioned that this is life. Scentsy is a component of life. And we got to, because of Scentsy, meet Brooke and Scott, Janine and Brian, and a lot of other people. There's so many people, Morgan and Nick.
I was gonna say,
I mean, there's so many people. I can't name everybody because I can't think of everybody off the top of my head, and it's an injustice to just keep trying to name people. But the number of relationships that has come out of it, not just with other consultants and the people that we've met at World Tour and the Disney incentive that Tracy earned last year. where we got to spend a bunch of time with Scott and Brooke and their family, which was absolutely phenomenal.
Loved every second.
We got to be like loner grandparents with their kids. And we didn't have to pay for squat. It was great. So all of this stuff becomes real. It is the conversations that we typically end up having. So beyond just the day-to-day of, helping everybody try to, move the needle, make more sales, be there for customers and things like that, we're empty nesters. We now live in Georgia. We moved here last December. We were in Michigan, close to family. And when our son and his fiance moved out of the house, it got very quiet. And we started hand delivering Happy Mail and prizes and things to Tracy's customers that, were in the area. That became our routine for Saturdays and Sundays. And that was covering 3 counties. We drive around 250 miles. And it was an all-day thing. We would hit UPS or the post office as soon as they opened at 9 o'clock in the morning. Stop at Starbucks because Tracy's that person. Then go hit White Castle for me because White Castle breakfasts are the best in the world. And then off to go make deliveries. And it was the way that we spent our time, basically having a road trip every weekend. And it became challenging to see, hey, we're meeting these people. Some people would see us pull up and come running out on their porch. So we ended up, somebody called Tracy the porch ninja because they were trying to catch her, because we'd pull in the driveway, she'd drop off the package, put it in the door, knock on the door and run back to the car, jump in, just not trying to get away from anybody, just because we had
So many
30 more stops to make. So we continued on. So we turned it into a game and said, okay, anybody that catches the porch ninja and takes a picture now gets entered into a drawing. So we'd come home, and then every Saturday night we'd get the people that posted it that they had a picture of Tracy. And this whole thing turned into a weekly game. Hi there.
Hi, Olivia. That's my best friend.
I know that.
By the way, just want you to know that porch ninja thing, people are smart, FYI, and everybody wants to be involved. Everybody went and bought rings so they could catch me. Just
Truth.
saying.
So all of this organically grew into something that we just absolutely love doing. It gave us purpose as a couple at a time that we were having a hard time figuring out what our relationship looks like, because our kids weren't there for us to respond to and for us to react to. And we've been together 3 years. We've had our ups and downs in our marriage. We've been here in Georgia, and we've looked at each other a few times and said, what the hell are we doing? It is something that is a part of our life, and being able to continue to build on that, whether it's earning an incentive, whether it's trying to be at World Tour or SFI, we intended to be there. We just moved in December. Everything since we moved has cost 3 times more than we expected it to. And we're just simply struggling putting all of the pieces together. I've had some health issues, and didn't know where paths were going to lead. So we decided maybe it'd be best if we just slow it down and let life come at us. I'm getting my back in shape, so I'm not crying as much. And it's life, right? We all love to be there, and we will be. When the time's right, we'll be able to come to these things.
But I think that Scentsy is, in the synopsis, Daryl is a storyteller if you can't tell. Long-winded.
Sorry.
But the moral of the story is that with Scentsy, you have to be sorry, I'm making fun. But really with Scentsy, you want to have your partner with you. You want their support because there are going to be ups and downs in it. Like you heard from Sarah and her husband, like there's always going to be ups and downs. So you need that person to lean on. There's going to be frustrating days. There's going to be funny days. There's going to be days you want to cry and pull your hair out. You want that person to pick up the pieces and glue them back on your head because they understand, they watch you. So with Scentsy, you could do Scentsy by yourself, but it's better for you to do it with your spouse and your partner because that person is going to get you and they're going to want to help you obtain your goals and they're going to want to help push you. They know you better than anybody. So that's the person that's going to take to push you to your incentive goal or to your PRV goal or just your business goal in general. So Scentsy for me, I'm glad that I shared it with him in the beginning. Like it was different. I had no idea that I was sharing. And then the longer that I'm in it and the more stuff that I get to do, I talk to Brooke on a daily basis. I get to make fun of Scott. I get to talk to my best friend, Olivia, which is their youngest daughter. Like Daryl's right. There's a lot of bonds that you get, but I didn't realize that I needed those things. And I needed my husband to be part of it. I needed my partner to be my partner. Last year when I had my health scare, I literally thought I was facing death. And I thought, oh my gosh, the first thing that came to my mind was not that I'm going to kick the bucket. It was, oh my gosh, what happens to my team? If I die, I'm going in for this heart cath. What if I die? What happens? I literally sat down with Daryl and I taught Daryl everything that I needed to happen for him to be able to take over the team. He is now on my roster that if anything happens, that team's his now. So sorry, Janine and Brian.
20 push-ups now.
Anybody else on the team that might be here, I'm sorry.
We're going to start with calisthenics.
Okay, look at who's saying that. But I want you to realize that made me, when I did that, when I put him on, it made me realize he's more than just my husband and my partner. He's my business partner. And I need him to be part of it. Even if sometimes his ideas I don't really like, I still need.
They're really good.
I still need him there. So having a partner with you that you could bounce things off of, that you could be annoyed with, because it's better than being annoyed if you're annoyed at your customer or whatever. It's way better to have a partner. So that's all I have to say.
But I got one quick comment.
Short.
And I don't know the folks that are here. I mean no disrespect in this comment. I have heard from other people say, my husband's not involved in this. He doesn't care. He said, this is my thing to do. I look at this as our business because this is bringing money and life input into our household and our family. And if you love the person you're with and you have respect for them, you're investing in yourself and in your own relationship. So be there to help. You know, this isn't hers. This is what Tracy does. I go over here and play my guitar. This is ours. This is just as important to our household is me going and doing my job every day. So if your spouse is not engaged, try to put it to them in that fashion of, if you care enough for me to bring me home flowers, then care enough for me to at least listen, run the camera.
Ask him how you what would help them want to engage themselves in your business? How can they help you? What could I do to make you want to be involved? Because maybe it's not everybody's cup of tea, and that's okay. But like Daryl was saying, in a nicer way, because my husband is so black and white, is ask somebody how they feel about it. Get their feelings and work with their feelings with it. So that way you want to engage them to be part of something that's so important to you, right? I mean, you know your partner better than anybody and what it takes to engage them into what you need with your business. Make it our business.
I love that he worked with you to do Happy Meal and helps you run the camera, and he is behind the scenes on a lot of stuff that not a lot of people know about. And I love that he's just super hands-on. I think
Well, and then when my sales are low, he brings his guitar out and serenades them all in.
I like that.
Nice.
That's great. I love that. Does anybody have a question for Daryl? He likes to answer questions.
Nope.
Well, then fine. All right, do you have anything you want to say? Is there anything different that wasn't already said? I really like that Sarah talked about events, because that's
Yeah, events is
Huge.
huge. So maybe you don't have a partner.
and remember that a lot of these people are newer.
Yeah, so maybe
gonna
you don't
watch
have a
this.
partner that's not. So what Daryl was talking about is we hear a lot of people say, my husband's, he's out. It's a girl business, or there's a lot of guys that do it. So
And are very
there's
good at it.
very good at it, because on a business side of it, girls want to talk to guys. A lot of girls don't want to talk to girls. So there is a benefit to that side of it. So, but there's,
Events.
on the events, if you don't have a spouse that's against this, they may not know that you want them to the event. So like her first world tour, I didn't go to it. She didn't know I wouldn't gone. She didn't ask, she took a friend. She just said, I assumed you didn't want to go.
I didn't even invite him.
I've been to every one since, because it's freaking awesome. So, business side of it, to go to the events, I go because I take a different takeaway than she does. And I try to look at her business, our business now, from a different point. And she'll fixate on something and I'll see it and note on it and let her know, like, hey, this would be really beneficial to you. A quick example was just the Amy app, which was Maven at the time when it came out. She's like, yeah, I don't do that. It's $8 a month. I'm like, you're an idiot. So you have to be honest. And I'm like, you have to. And at that event, she had signed up for it. And within that, I think at that event, you had emails back from it. So like there was a response from it. So something that she thought was silly or too expensive, or, she missed that window. She missed that what was being thrown at her. And so that helps tremendously.
Club. I'll have a club too.
Yep, club.
You made me make my first club.
Yep. So, guys or your spouse or whoever have a different view on stuff. Now, on what I said earlier about life, the event doesn't have to be about business. There is all kinds of stuff. And that's from World Tour or reunion. There's lots of other takeaways that can go into business. Like I'm in a totally different business than Scentsy is. And I can take away large portions of what I hear and manipulate it to the way I need to think about it and to apply it to my business. So it's very intriguing. Whether you think you're just bringing your spouse along to learn about Scentsy, chances are they'll learn something about Scentsy, but they're going to learn a lot of other things that might be a lot more important at that time in their life that might set them up to be in a better place to be more supportive. It can go in a big circle. So
But not just Scentsy events, even
just events.
home events, like, or
Events are just, they
Practice.
are,
it's
Yeah.
important to bring your spouse,
Yeah.
I think, if they're willing to go to help you, even if it's just to help set up. Even if it's just that little bit of just asking them for help.
Yep.
Just so
But
they can be involved.
again, you have to ask. And communication, this isn't a relationship counseling session, but you have to be able to communicate. You have to be brutally honest. Like when I said, you're stupid for not.
I think those were his
Getting that
words, by the way, too. I think he did call him stupid.
I'm like, you're stupid.
I
You
feel
have
like those
to-
were actually the real words.
I'm not kidding. Like, but we have that communication. We don't beat around the bush about it. So trying to think if there's anything else. They all touch pretty good. Probably hours. I was gonna ask hours. Their situation, Sarah's situation, Sarah and Nate.
Yeah.
Sarah and Nate, did I met him, right?
We've got pictures of him up there in that middle.
Okay, he looked familiar.
Yeah. we're
So, their situation, yes, is a little different. I love that he hopped on and he's like, you don't know that they don't have kids. You don't like, because you don't know. And you can't assume, you can't assume in anything. But I really, the hours can eat at the spouse. I can definitely, I've made the mistake-ish of saying my time was more important than her time at times because, I'm working side jobs or I'm doing like, we have to float or otherwise, so things can come out wrong. And if she didn't put it in my face and say that kind of, not talking is not a good thing either. So there can be resentment both directions by that. So back to communication.
And Scentsy really hard to set hours, y'all.
It is.
It's just super hard because if someone, and even still, I've been doing this 9 years this fall. Even still, if someone messages me at 9:30 and is like, hey, I want to order this, this, and this, my customers don't put in their own orders. I put in their orders. 9 times out of 10, I put in my customers' orders. They don't even go to, what am I looking at?
There's a cat. I think it's a cat. Kitty, kitty, kitty. There it is.
She wants fed.
Nichols had something to say.
Yeah.
He does. He thinks it's time for his snack, and it's not.
I was like, what am I looking at?
Just a cat butt.
It was like cat nipples, just like nipples. But if I have a customer that texts me like 9:30, 10, 11 o'clock, and they're like, hey, I want to put this order in, I'm like, hang on a second, I'll go put it in for you. And I'll get up out of bed and like go put orders in. It's really hard to set hours, but it's also not that great on your significant other when you get up out of bed because you have to go take care of something.
Or it might be fine with your significant other.
Or it might.
That's back to communicate. You just have to talk about it. You have to explain why this might be important to your, because it might not. You might just be wasting your time, or you might not. It might be a shoehorn into a new client to is working for you.
What else? Okay. Have you always looked at Scentsy as something that could be something, or was that something that had to grow on you over the years? This would be a good one for me because this wasn't a
She
thing.
was a slow roller at the beginning, so we would.
That's really kind of like
You weren't.
it was just kind. It was
You
kind.
weren't, like, you just didn't hit it hard. You were a hobbyist almost at that point.
100%.
She was making good money where she was at, hated her job. So it was just something to, at first she thought it was something to let her feel like she was providing. And then she started making those people connections back to life that are 100% more beneficial than anything money-wise, because the money, like I said, the money will come. And the people connection with your team will make you a lot more money in the end. Like we're in the last year and a half, 2 years, we're making that transition to where sometimes the relationship and the teaching actually makes you lose money in your business until, well, there's certain spots where when those people are blooming, their team, you lose money. And sometimes people don't tell that to those people that you're trying to train, like, hey, if I promote you, it doesn't help me, but I'm here for you because I know full circle, we will do this together. We're not doing this for me to go do this. And the pyramid scheme thing is what really, I think, turns off a lot of people. And if they were present in end of the month calls and they listened to Heidi Normal when they were around, they are very intentional about their payment plans, about how everything works, they're legal, because Orville, that was his job. He is here to protect that we aren't going to be the next Avocare. We're not going to be like, I can say it. I can say it. So there are lots of companies that they are full acceleration and they're not looking at that. So
I think that was a turning point for you when you started listening to the EOMs with me.
I think it's
it
fun.
was.
Yeah.
Like you always went to events.
Yeah.
Just because we do everything together because I'm up your butt. But I think when we started laying in bed together and listening to the EOMs and you heard numbers, Orville was always talking numbers back then. We knew where we were every hour because they'd be on for like 2-3 hours. Yeah. And he'd be like, all right, now we're at this, now we're at this. And he would be like, okay, well, back in this time, back when I was inventing what's the sham wow or whatever it is that he was selling or inventing. Yeah. He was part of the Direct Sales Association. He helped like build the compensation plan for Scentsy so that we weren't breaking any rules, is what he was saying there. But I don't know. I think it's important for your spouse to at least pretend. Just pretend. And to show up.
If they can kind of show up. like just get them
to the
present.
EOMs. Like that was a big thing that we just did together. I didn't even realize it was something we were doing together until he started like asking questions. I'm like, oh, you were like listening.
And some of the numbers are like not in a envious way. It's just like amazing. Like you listen to some of these numbers and these year over years, and it is very comforting to know how comfortable the business truly is. So
yeah, he's a numbers person, so that's nice.
Well, and I just want to piggyback on that. Scott, I was very impressed the first time that I met you at World Tour last year when we couldn't have one and Brooke put it on.
Oh yeah. Cassie was there.
You were so involved. And I think that's where I was like, Daryl, this is where I need you to be. Like he's all into this. Like he's making sure all the tech stuff was done. He's greeting the guests who he doesn't even know. Like you acted like you knew me for 5 years and we had just met.
I did. We were up till 2 a.m. doing this.
Well, okay, y'all, we have built deep relationships.
Over lots of glasses of brown liquor.
Well, no, it was.
I was drinking brown liquor.
The point though is that, so I just want you to know that everybody who's on here, I see you're with couples and that's amazing.
Yes, I am so proud of all of you.
Thank you for
absolutely. And so Brooke and Scott spearheaded this whole this topic, and I think that's a really important topic for the two people who aren't BSing. I've seen it firsthand. Scott's in the middle of it all. He's lifting up Brooke with the business and he wants to be a part of it. Sometimes maybe too much. I don't know. I'm just saying.
He couldn't wait to be added as a legacy. He was so excited.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. As soon as I told Daryl that he was added to legacy, he's like, oh. So I get
nice. I got a business card somewhere.
See,
I saw him on her makeup stand. I'm like, aha.
I did.
I have Scott and Brooke Barnhart.
I did.
Brooke and Scott Barnhart.
I did add him.
Hey, put that away. We haven't gotten to that point in our business relationship. Don't give them any ideas.
Wait a minute, I give you cards?
Yeah.
Yeah, I added his name. Mind you, okay, look, I don't want y'all to get the wrong idea. Scott doesn't like,
I'm not her pimp.
he doesn't advertise.
Oh,
He doesn't like post on Facebook, hey, buy Scentsy. He doesn't hand
Okay.
out business cards. He doesn't do
I-
that. But he
I
does
got
wear
a couple of
Scentsy
short things
all
to
the time.
say.
Everyone has faults.
He does wear it though. He brands himself. He wears Scentsy all the time.
I
okay.
branded her
So
car.
see that it should be forgiven.
I'm not mad about it. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying, so maybe a sticker on the back of his truck.
I've tried that. He won't do it. It's a conflict of interest.
Daryl drove a Subi with my name. And
Conflict of interest.
So it falls, for me, it falls into DOT regulations.
Oh, yeah,
okay, well, that-
So I can't advertise with numbers.
yeah, there's only things, certain.
What about websites?
QR code, you could do a QR code.
No, I don't think you can. do
Yes, you
that.
can. It's not numbers, it's a QR code.
Not with
It's still advertisement. It's DOT regulation. So I move
However-
materials and I can't do that with a labeled vehicle.
One
without
of
the-
the things that I will encourage spouses to do, and it was kind of amazing to see what came from it, is on Facebook, sharing one of Tracy's posts, or if there's something coming out that I know some of my buddies that are geeks about something like Star Wars is available. So there were two guys that I went to high school with, and I didn't do anything with anybody in high school. I just wanted to put in my time and get out on it. And two of the guys I went to high school with, one is in Indiana, somewhere near Indianapolis, and another is in Mount Clemens in Michigan, my old hometown. I just shared, I invited them to Tracy's VIP group, just because there's a button, invite, and I thought, what the heck? I didn't like anybody in high school anyway. They connected with me on Facebook, so I'm gonna invite them. If they choose to come, cool. If they don't choose to come, no big deal.
Oh, well.
It's not, I'm not, signing them up for something, I'm inviting them. The guy who was close in our hometown bought the camper warmer like in 8 minutes after joining the VIP group,
And he has a Scentsy club.
and he joined he got a Scentsy club. In Indiana, shows up for, well, it slowed down a little bit, but he'd show up for every live that we did.
He invited over 100 people to our group.
Yeah. And there's people that come to every one of the lives that Tracy does because he had a party. And you just never know how these dots are going to connect. And I will admit, my first thought was the typical chauvinistic attitude of, I'll share it with the girls that are friends of mine. And I think almost to a person, they never did anything with it. The few guys that I thought, I don't care if they don't like me anymore, no harm, no foul, they got involved. It evolved into them bringing people in. You just never know. So, take a chance.
Okay.
Thanks, Daryl.
Sorry if you
I
look
appreciate that.
She's been shoehorning me.
9 years. Can't you just share one damn thing?
You never know what'll happen.
Kenny, I want to hear from you. We have 10
You're on the
minutes
spot.
left.
Busted.
Talk about your first experience. Well, I guess I was there. So was Tracy.
Let the other people that may watch this. Okay.
So I want to ask you specific questions so you don't have to think of a topic to talk about. When she joined, what were your initial thoughts versus now? Like, what has changed?
Well, it was just kind of like a whim type thing. Like COVID just hit and we were looking for another source of income and stuff like that. And I'm like, sure, why not try it and see what happens and stuff like that. And we've had a couple people buy here and there and stuff, but we're still trying to figure out what basically, I guess, how to work the business type thing in my eyes. Like, I'm still trying to figure out like what I can do to help her other than like show her posts and stuff like that. And like, I've talked to people, my family kind of is involved with it a little bit here and there. Like, we have people buying, but it's not very many and stuff. But I'm just trying to figure out like what I can do more and stuff like that.
Has she been like, hey, do this?
What?
Cassidy, have you been like, hey, this would help me if you did this? Driving her to events is a huge thing. I will tell you that.
She's there.
Girl is at every event. That
I
is
won't
huge.
be at this one.
Well, not everyone goes to.
I
an
even
event.
missed the deadline for virtual.
Ah,
Well, in my small opinion, I feel like $150 is a little outrageous to pay for virtual.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm just pointing that out.
I'll be partying while you guys are learning.
You're not alone, Cassidy, honey.
I'm sure someone somewhere will put on a virtual like watch that you can go to.
Mhm.
I'm
That'd
sure
be great.
somebody will. Somebody will. Look on the SLS page. I'm sure someone will.
Okay.
But just Kenny, just like you coming to events, I think that is huge. A lot of significant others don't want to do that. They have no interest in doing that. They're like, hey, this is all you. You go do this for you. I love that you're like, I want to go. And like, right, even if she may be dragging you, I don't know if she is. Even if she might be dragging you, I am super glad that you're going. I think that's super important.
I just look at him and be like, can I go?
like, yeah.
You could get the time off. You got the time. Let's go.
Janine. Am I allowed to call her out? Do you want to call her out?
Hi,
Hi.
So
Brian
do you-
actually.
I was
had-
gonna say, do you think that Brian has gotten involved?
He has. He works midnight, so he's taking a shower now. But he really has. One of the things he's done, he's actually gotten me a few customers from work. I gave him some samples. He passed them out at work to some people, and I've had I think 3 or 4 sales from it. And then actually someone just ordered from his work today, so it was kind of cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
He doesn't think it's silliness anymore, huh?
Not too much anymore. No, he takes it a little more seriously now.
That's good.
That's
Yeah, he
awesome.
just heard me, he goes, huh?
Congratulations to both of you. That's awesome. So do you think that now that he's more involved, does he like bounce ideas off of you of things to try? I mean, have anybody who's here, Elizabeth, anybody, have you found that your significant other now is getting more involved with offering up ideas of maybe to try different things? If you notice something's not working and you voice that opinion to them, do they try to give you other ideas?
Mine has.
Yeah, mine. I don't think he has like any good ones. Like, not that like he's just not like I don't know, he's just not like I don't think he understands it enough to give some good ideas.
So how old are you in Scentsy Business?
I'm 2 years in.
Okay. 2.
2, yeah.
So he has not been to an event?
No. We started during COVID, so there's only been like virtual stuff.
Gotcha.
So yeah, no, he hasn't.
It will definitely help his mind, because the creativity level of like everybody's own little process or scheme or game, not scheme, but game, or everybody like manipulates this own little way to market. And it's like, it lets you really look at it differently than home office presents it. So even if he was in tune with some kind of training from home office or some kind of literature from home office, it's just these girls and guys take the idea of marketing and they just run. So the breakouts in an event are just neat to let you really look at the concept, and it lets you maybe see a different flow of how the business really actually works and how you can purchase things you can give as gifts with parties. Like there's got to be incentives everywhere. Otherwise you're not any more desirable than the next consultant. So your own little incentive definitely changes that, and letting him see that definitely will help his thought process in the business, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
And for what Scott said too, 100%, because we as a consultants go into this, we are like, when we go to these events, we are starstruck. We're all hyped up on Scentsy Spirit. Like we are like crack almost with Scentsy Spirit. So we're so like excited to see what's coming and to do the things.
Yep.
Our spouse is the one that actually is paying attention. We're only focused in, we're zeroed in on the excitement of what we're doing there. Our spouse is actually picking up everything else that we really need to pick up. They're taking notes. They're seeing the things that we just cannot see because we are jet focused on the one thing that we really want to see, which is usually hiding Orville.
New products.
Yeah.
Or people, just people.
Yep.
And we all get in that it's stuck in our lane of what we think is working, but we forget that some of that stuff will go stale and not work, or not work as well as it did the first 2 months you did it. So popping into those events definitely helps. And I even like getting on these lives when she's training with other groups, and definitely don't be afraid to seek other groups and seek other people, because everybody's going to present it to you differently. So, but I
have to be invited to this.
Yeah.
This is cool.
Yep.
We allowed you to come, Daryl.
Thanks, Brooke. I'm so glad that you loved that and that you had him. I don't know why you invited this one.
What are we doing the next one?
We Facebooked him.
Because I knew that he was super supportive and super helpful to your business. And literally without him, you could not run your business. I mean,
I could not.
He's very involved. And that's just, I want people to understand that. Yeah, a lot of us are consultants, just like we're doing this for us. It's a thing for us to do. And eventually we hope to, turn it into something that's huge. But having them by our side is important, because even if they're not super helpful with the business, they're still your person that you need support from emotionally through it too.
100%.
Libby, did you have anything fun to talk about?
Making both.
How to unmute myself. No, I just was enjoying you guys. I got a bashful one that won't talk probably.
Well, he's super helpful. He helps you with events and stuff.
He is amazingly helpful.
The plus side is Libby talks enough to where I don't have to say a word. I just have to move things.
That's good.
Best thing, guess Tracy, your husband, I guess, plays in the band. Think of me as a bass player.
That was awesome.
It was really
Love it
fun.
that he talked. I love it. So what do you add for her business? What do you do?
I am literally the muscle. I got to move it and I move it. And something, if you got a show and there's something at the house, I just take care of that. I'll take the shows, things like that. But again, she's the talker. I sit back and keep my mouth shut.
We have 6 kids between the two of us, and so he does a lot of. My daughter is really into dance and all kinds of activities, and he does a lot of kid running on the weekends.
So that in itself is actually helping you run your business because
Yes.
taking care of that aspect of it. So you, sir, are helping lift her business. There you go.
Well, that was wonderful. Does anybody have anything else they want to contribute to that before I stop the recording?
We're out of time, Daryl.
Yeah, got 1 hour. Okay, I'm gonna stop this. Thank you guys for being here. I am
Thanks
so
for coming.
thankful for you guys to be here. I'm gonna just stop the recording real quick.